I'm not sure what happened with that last stream, but hey, Dr. Dwain Woode, that's Wood with an E. And right now I am getting ready to start my fast. And so I thought I'd come on and show you some of the things that I have right here that I'm going to use to start the fast. Now, what I have, and I'm gonna, let's do it this way. I'm gonna kind of turn this around so you guys get to see. And so right now I have several things. I've got some salad. This is from Tzatziki's. This is from Tzatziki's. This right here is some chicken from downstairs and then another salad. So I may have to do that a little differently. I don't think that quite worked the way I thought it was going to work, but that's okay. I think I'll bring it up to show you. So here's a salad that I have, and this one is from Tzatziki's. It's a salad. It's got some chicken. Of course, they've got lettuce, tomatoes, got some chickpeas in there, and of course, the chicken is from Tzatziki's. This is a salad that I created, and this is from our cafeteria. And in here, we've got, of course, romaine lettuce. There's some red cabbage. There is, let's see, eggs and cheese and some seeds that are in there. And then the other thing that I have is this is some chicken that I got from downstairs in the cafeteria. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to really kind of talk to you about not just what I'm eating, but the fact that in your space, wherever you are, you can find things that you can use to break the fast and, of course, to start the fast. And here we are, we're getting ready to start our fast for this week. And I encourage you, if you've not done so yet, if you are still working on, getting into that habit of fasting. So on Tuesday, I start my fast. So Tuesday to Wednesday, 24 hours. Wednesday to Thursday, 48 hours. And Thursday to Friday, 72 hours of fasting. And you can join me in any of those. And then we do our check-ins. Our first check-in is going to be tomorrow evening on our show, Dwain Woode, MD. So right here, as you are getting into the fast, I want you to prepare. So today, I actually went downstairs and got a salad. I wasn't sure what was coming in because we have usually for our meetings, people bring lunch in, but I did not want to leave it to chance that the things that they were bringing, the things that we were going to have, was not going to fit. Okay, so I went downstairs and I created a salad, and I'll talk about some of the components here in a minute. And I've got the chicken. Okay, so the chicken is supposed to go on top of the salad. Now, the reason I talked about the components of the salad is the things that we're eating during our regular eating period, right? So that's not our fasting window. When we are eating, when our eating window, we want to also make sure that we are eating things that are nutrient dense. And this goes back to our balanced bites idea. So whole foods, minimize processing, no added sugar, healthy fats, lean protein, starchy, non-starchy vegetables, portion controlled, and of course tasty and flavorful. That's the idea of balanced bites. So as I'm going through and looking to see, okay, what am I going to eat? I want to make sure that in the salad there are those components. Okay, that's the first thing. The other thing is, as I'm getting into the fast, I want to make sure that I'm going to have enough protein and enough fats, because those are the things that are going to help me during that first 6 to 12 hours to kind of get through that as my body begins using up the carbohydrates or the glycogen that's in the system. If I don't do that, if I eat things that are highly processed, highly sugary, then my cravings are going to peak and my appetite is going to be stimulated. And so when I get into the fast, that makes it more difficult. So I'm choosing this specifically. And that was the reason in this salad, for example, of adding the eggs, and then of course adding the cheese. I've got the nuts that are in there, and then to top it off, right? I've got this is maybe maybe 2 chicken breasts. Okay, so that gives me, I think, enough protein. Now you'll notice here as well that on the salad this is ranch dressing. And some people have asked me about I said, wait a minute, that's processed, and the answer is yes, it is. Because I'm not going to eat the salad without dressing, and I don't create my own dressing. So we said minimize processing, and so we want to make sure that we are not eating a lot of processed foods. In your space, you will find that sometimes it's easier to do, sometimes it's not so easy to do, and in this case, we are having some processed stuff. Okay, so and then, okay, so here's tzatziki's. So this is a reasonable salad, and everything in here actually pretty good. Of all the things that are in the salads that I'm going to eat, the tomatoes from this salad, and of course the tomatoes from that salad, the chickpeas, which is in here, these are the things that are going to spike my blood sugar. Not to mention some of the dressing. The dressing probably will as well. And this one, I think this is a Caesar dressing that's on the tzatziki's, and the one that's on the other salad that I made, this is ranch. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop in and let's start eating. And I think I'm going to, maybe I'll do a combination. I really want to get the protein in. Okay, and that salad dressing is very good, so I know they probably put some sugar in there. If you're from Tzatziki's, you want to share your recipe with us, you can do that. So I encourage you, um, if you've not been fasting, fasting is an amazing way to jumpstart your health. On our show, we're into the third pillar of our health action plan, but the first two, walking and fasting. Walking and fasting, simple, low cost, as a matter free. You don't have to spend any money. Hey, Bowie. See some of our community members hopping on. Go ahead and starting our fast. I've got a salad here. This is from Tzatziki's. And so, once again, the idea here was to show you that even where you are, when you're out, you can find things that you can use to be healthy. Yes, Bowie, I'm glad that you caught us live. Delicious, by the way. So, flavorful, flavorful, flavorful. Now, one of the things that I recommend for people who are fasting is that you plan two things. You want to plan your last meal before you get into a fast, and you want to plan your first meal after you get out of the fast. Okay? So plan it, plan it, plan it. And then also have a default meal. What does that mean? That means if you cannot get to the meal that you're planning, what is going to be your default? Because there are a lot of times things happen, right? So your meeting runs over, you're out, you're traveling, you didn't make it to your destination on time, but you have in your idea what you were going to have. And all of a sudden that can no longer happen. So what do? In most cases, what ends up happening is either people don't fast, they say, well, I'll not do it today, or they end up eating things that they don't want to eat. But if you have, okay, this is what I'm going to plan to eat for my last meal before I get into the fast, and this is what I'm going to plan to eat after I get out of the fast, great. But in my pocket, written down, not in your pocket literally, you have an idea of, okay, if that doesn't work out, what's going to be my default? And my default meal always is a salad with protein. Okay? So that's why you see me eating this all the time. Now, to change it up, I'll add different things. So when I went downstairs today at the cafeteria, I had to make a choice. They had hamburger patties, which they call Salisbury steak, and they had chicken. And I knew and so I made the decision I was going to have chicken. That's essentially it. I could have had the Salisbury steak, but it was more processed, right, than this chicken. And these are actually chicken breasts, right? So if you look at this, this is not the this is not the form chicken. This is actually a chicken breast. But the patty was, I mean, they had whatever they'd done to it, and then there's gravy on top of it and so forth. So I could have had that, but I chose in this case to have this. Okay. Boy says Salisbury steak was one of her favorite in military school meals. Now here's the thing. I grew up in Brooklyn, and so I remember being in the cafeteria in school. And I think they used to give us the little foil thing, right? I don't think they used to hand, I think was it in the foil or was that on the airplane? Maybe I'm mixing it up. But yeah, I remember boy. So as you see, I'm making sure that I get good protein in because I want to help my body as I get into this fast, not struggle. So the first 6 hours, and we do this review when we do our complete check-in on Fridays, the first 6 hours are the postprandial period. And so whatever I'm eating right now, the body has to process this, has to process it before it ever even thinks about starting to burn fat. Okay? So whatever I'm putting in right now has a direct effect on how effective my body can be and how effective the fast is going to be once I get into the fast. Okay? So that's why you want to make sure the things that you're eating are consistent with the balanced bites that we talk about. So what you're essentially doing is you're helping the body during the fasting process by what you eat right now. And this is difficult. This is, I mean, delicious, not difficult, delicious. So last week, when we started our fast, we asked a question, and the question was, if you're coming into a fast, right, and you're getting ready to eat your last meal before you get into the fast, and you are not hungry, what do you do? Do you delay the fast? Do you eat anyway? Do you pretend? Well, not pretend, but do you accept? Well, you know, I ate 8 hours ago. I'm not hungry right now, so I'll count my time as having started 8 hours ago. So what do you do? So we had some people who jumped in and had some comments. What do you think? Right now, what would you do? And I love this because I've got some almonds, not almonds, there's some walnuts in there. Actually, that was unexpected. Walnuts, some dried tomatoes. We of course got the chickpeas, or garbanzo beans as they're called. So what would you do? I'm waiting for you. I'll tell you what I would do. I'll tell you what I've done, actually. Like in this case, I'm almost done with this salad. I've got more salad. When my husband was his wardrobe would get brighter and more colorful. I know this is the same about you. So an interesting process, Bowie, is that okay, and it's a psychological thing, and a good friend of mine who had weight loss surgery pointed this out to me years ago. She said, when you're larger, you have two mindsets. You have one of two mindsets. It's either that I am not wanting to draw any attention to myself, right? So we tend to be monotone in our dress. We tend to be very, sometimes interesting in our conversations. But as you lose, that's one idea. The other one is there are some people who are just colorful people, right? But as you begin losing weight, there's something that happens in the psyche. And so it's not a matter of drawing attention to yourself, but people like to look good. And so for a long time, they haven't. They've just been kind of blending into the background. And as people lose weight, yeah, they begin to try some things. And here's do you want to hear something? Okay. All right. So what I've noticed is when I was larger, I had to search for things. Like when I was a kid, they used to take me to the husky section, right? I did not like the word husky. That's what it was called back then. So, and so, you know, being 285 pounds, 287 pounds, when you go to the store to buy clothes, you're searching for stuff, right? And you're searching for stuff, and not everything was going to fit right or fall right or, you know, that you would like. And so your options are very limited. But when you're smaller, you just walk into the store and pick something up. You put it on, okay? So I think what happens is that people also tend to just find more things available. And so cute clothes for large size. Oh, so there you go. That's what Bowie was just saying. That's what I was just pointing out. So now often, I'm not even thinking. Right? Before I had to plan, okay, I gotta get this and that goes together. Now I walk into the store, hey, I like that. I grab it, bring it home. And then when I go to my closet, I say, okay, I'll grab that. I don't even sometimes process. Although there is a method to my madness. And you will notice, and if you look at some of the things that I wear, I'm gonna back up a little bit. Right? So I always, well not always, right? I try to do three, right? Three different colors whenever I wear, right? So this is a little bit similar, but if you see me now, like before everything was the same. It was gray, it was black, it was blue, it was whatever the color was. But now what I try to do is I try to do two different colors or three different colors. So for example, I got the red shirt on, I've got the black pants, and I've got kind of this reddish pinkish thing on. Okay, so if you see me, you'll probably, I shouldn't say never, right? Because that you can't ever say never. But often you'll see me with three different colors together that I put together. So and it's not like I say, okay, that one, and that one. I go in and say, okay, I'm wearing that and that. Okay, I just need a third color, and then boom, there it is. Okay, see, fashion also. See, but we weren't even. We're supposed to be talking about fasting right here. We're talking about fasting and eating. You got me talking about clothes. But delicious, by the way. Delicious. So once again, if you want to jumpstart your health, our health action plan, fasting, tier 1, fasting and walking. We just started tier 2, which is strength training. That was good. So, I lost about 25 pounds since I started watching you around November last year. I don't want to buy new clothes. Yeah, yeah. And here's the thing, buying clothes now is so cheap. Okay, I don't want to use the word so inexpensive. Okay, because like I said, you walk in and you just grab whatever's there. Um, I'm not gonna tell you how much the stuff I got on right now costs, but this is not a lot. So now that when you go into the store, you see and you just grab things, and they're relatively inexpensive. You can get things on sale now. You get things that I couldn't wear before, right? Because I had to have like for real clothes because I needed that. So good friend Gary Jones. Hey Gary, how you doing, man? Thank you for stopping through. We are just now eating our last meal. You'll see I finished up the lettuce, the salad from Tzatziki's, so that was good. Um, what I started to say before I get to these others, because I'm actually full, and that's one of the interesting things about the of when I'm fasting. Um, I think before I ate so much that the size of my stomach, there was a stretch there, and now as I'm eating less, right, my stomach it takes less for me to feel, and that's part of when we did our show on learning how to trust your body again. Those signals have been disrupted, right? We talked about dysregulated metabolism. So it's not just that the metabolism within the body is disrupted, but the signals that we interpret, the things that we hear, the things that we see, the things that we feel, we misinterpret them. And so now, when I eat, I've got to be careful because it seems like my stomach gets that stretch happens sooner, and so sometimes I think I'm not hungry, or for instance, in this case, I ate that salad and it had what five pieces of chicken, and of course the salad itself, and that was one I created. I didn't even measure it out. They brought it in from Tzatziki's. I went and I got it because I know this is what we're going to do. This one, on the other hand, that I actually created downstairs, I actually measured this out. So I went in and deliberately looked at the things I wanted. Wanted to get the eggs and the nuts for the protein. I wanted to get the cheese for the fat. Of course, the lettuce, tomatoes. They have some carrots in there. That gives me the carbs, right? Non-starchy carbs, and that's a good point to make here. So in balanced bites, when we talk about our regular eating window, part of balanced bites we say minimize processing, no added sugar, whole foods. It says starchy and non-starchy vegetables, and so starchy vegetables. In this instance, I have deliberately de- or avoided putting starchy vegetables in this meal because I know starchy vegetables, when I eat them, right, they have a higher possibility of causing a spike, higher insulin response. Higher insulin response causes me in the fast, in that postprandial period, those 6 hours right after I eat, causes that to be difficult for me. So in my post, in my last meal before I fast, and also in my first meal after I fast, I actually cut out the starchy vegetables. But in your regular meals, in your regular non-fasting meals or non-last meal, non-first meal kind of thing, in your eating windows, you want to have some starchy vegetables in there because those are things like cauliflower, and cauliflower is actually one of those that's kind of weird because people put it in starchy, some people put it in non-starchy. Um, I used to eat a lot of rice, right? I used to eat a lot of rice in my history. In fact, I grew up, that was part of our culture. I mean, you couldn't have anything without rice. In fact, when I cook, and I tell you guys that I cook every week, I make curry and I make jerk chicken, right? Me and my son, we love, that's our thing. Now during the week we have other things, right? Like on Saturdays we have salmon. We always have some jerk chicken. We always have some curry in the house. Tofu. We have a lot of tofu in the house. We have my son eats turkey sausage. Okay, so we got a lot of that in the house. My wife normally makes. We got Taco Tuesday. So anyway, so there's a variety of things. But in our regular week, and this is not a diet that we're on. This is just the stuff we like, and it's simple to make. I can go to the store, and we're going to a different store now. But I can go to the store and I could come home and I could cook one night, and that jerk chicken. Say I get a box, I mean a package of legs and some thighs. And recently I started doing wings. Then that package, I can get actually 2 weeks worth, unless we're having dinner on the weekend. I get 2 weeks worth of that. Break it in half, and I cook some curry, some jerk chicken, and we'll eat that for the next 3, 4 days. Now my son and I, we're kind of weird. This isn't weird, but I don't like leftovers really. I mean, some I do, but if it's been in there, yeah, it's like, yeah, get rid of it. Okay, so I've got to learn how to cook less, because right now I go and get one of those big trays of legs, big trays of thighs, and then I got one of those big things of wings, and I'll cook the whole thing. And there's only 3 of us, right? And if we're not having anything on the weekend, then that gets lost. Um, but he says I'm Asian American, so I understand. I've been experimenting with switching white rice with brown rice. Yeah, yeah. And I see Steve. Hey, Steve, how you doing? How you doing? Um, yeah. So back to the rice. So I grew up eating a lot of rice, and so for me, I had to change my thought process because I'm like, it just doesn't taste right. So Bowie, think about it, right? When there are certain dishes that you eat it and you're like, okay, it's okay, but if I had some rice under this, it would be amazing. And so when I cook like curry, um, the taste was always in the gravy, and the taste was always in the gravy because the gravy went on top of the rice. Okay, so when I cook now, I don't make a lot of gravy, and in fact, I'll take a little bit of gravy out and I'll throw the rest away because my son doesn't like a lot of gravy anyway. He likes his food to be dry. He doesn't like wet food. And the reason I do that, I get rid of it because if it's in the house, my brain says that in order for me to get the full flavor of that gravy, I've got to have rice with it. Okay? Calcium red blows with my glucose up there. Yeah, so Steve's saying he can't have rice. Yeah, it's a big thing. The grocery shopping before the fast is really when I think about okay, balanced bites. Yeah. Now, so as we move through the health action plan, right? The goal, and for all the things that we do, and I'm coming to your comment there, Bowie. All the things we do, I want. Let me back up. So, for example, we're doing right now. We're in the strength training, strength strategy, and mindset. And so every day we're on 30, 45 minutes or so, and we're doing strength training. Okay, so we're going through and we're lifting weights, we're doing presses, we're doing curls, we're doing all those things, we're doing squats. And the tendency for that would be for people to think, okay, this is stuff I do on a special day. This is what I do on my exercise day. And my goal for that is not that you have necessarily an exercise day, but that you exercise in your life. So we've asked people to create a 5-minute circuit, right? Combined several of the exercises that we've learned, and just have that in your pocket, just like you have your last meal before you start fasting, or your first meal after you stop fasting. Just like you have that in your pocket as a plan. Okay, I've got these 5 things, these 5 routines that I do, and in 5 minutes I can go through and I can do 2 reps of 3 or 5 reps of 4, whatever it is. And at any time you have, yeah, you're at the office and you're waiting for a meeting. You go to your office, or you're in the bathroom, or you're waiting for the shower to the water to warm up, or you're waiting for something to cook. You can go through and do those things because it is a built-in part of your life. Okay. Now, I said that, Bowie, because I saw your comment about thinking about balanced bites right before you shop. And that is great because I want you to do that. I want you to think about it, but I want balanced bites to not just be something we occasionally think about. I want it to be the form of our thought process. And the beauty of it, and this right here is the crux. The beauty of balanced bites is that the things that we normally eat can fit into balanced bites if we pay attention, right? So you can create from the things you eat normally balanced bites. Just grab the things that you normally eat and you put those together in a way that is beneficial. And the reason, going back to balanced bites, the reason that non-starchy vegetables is in balanced bites, right, is because people have to be able to incorporate some things that they like. There's some vegetables that you like that people say, oh, you should never eat that. You've got to know yourself and you've got to be in the mindset that, okay, I am going to manage this. I personally have decided that rice, like Steve says, rice is, for me, no. I grew up in it. Every time I go to a family function, we do it. We cook a lot of it. As a matter of fact, when we go to the store, we get a bag of, I think it's a 20 pound or 30 pound, whatever pound it is. And we go through that very quickly because most of the things that we eat, right, there's rice. But me personally, even at my house, I don't eat a lot of rice compared to what I used to eat. In fact, I will, and I could say in the last 3, 4 weeks, I probably have eaten a total of one of the serving spoons, one of those. I've probably eaten maybe three of those of rice for the last 3 weeks. And that for me is unheard of. But like Steve says, when I eat rice, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It could be basmati, it can be jasmine, it could be Uncle Ben's, it could be parboiled, it can be brown. It doesn't matter. As soon as that rice goes into my head, it's like sugar gets happy and sugar just shows up. It's like boom, there it is. And so I can't. I've decided not to do that. When I go, like I was in New York a couple weeks ago, as I told you guys, and part of what we eat in New York is just off limits, right? Part of what we do in New York is I have Chinese food, and Chinese food I had rice, right? So it's like, yeah, come bring it on, bring it on. Steve says some things are just off limits. Yes, Steve, and you have to know yourself. Okay, you have to know yourself. And so I encourage you, as we are walking through the health action plan, the limitless living health action plan. Fasting, huge part of that. Walking, huge part of that. We just started. We introduced strength training last night on our show. So we're incorporating these things because we want them to become a natural part of ourselves. For two of the people who are actually here right now, who's watching, Steve has seen such great benefits, right? And this was even before we introduced balanced bites and strength training and so forth, just from fasting. And you saw Bowie said that since starting the program or watching in November of last year, she's down 25 pounds. So this is not theoretical stuff. These are things that people are seeing. And Steve, I always pick on you when you come on, man. Can you tell us if you don't mind, tell us two things if you don't mind. One, what is the weight that you've lost, and then two, share with us how your blood sugars have changed. Okay, if you don't mind, if you're still here. But those are fascinating. So not just these are not just theoretical people. These are actual people that are seeing the benefit. And if you want to jumpstart, I'm telling you, if you want to jumpstart your health, if you want to right your health, if you want to get things back on track, walking, fasting, follow the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. LLHAP is what we LLHAP. All right, Limitless Living Health Action Plan. Go ahead and do that. And today, right now, we just started our fast for this week. If you're doing your 24-hour, this is a great time to do that. If you start now, you may be just a half hour off from where we are. If you're doing a 24-hour and you don't want to do it today, you can join us tomorrow, because tomorrow, right around this time, we'll be checking in. We'll be at our 24-hour period, and you can join for that 24-hour period as your fast. And then, of course, on Thursday, we'll be checking in again. And if you're waiting, you can do that 24 hours. Okay? And so Steve says, I've lost 50 pounds. I weigh what I did in high school. Look at that. I mean, that's amazing, right? 50 pounds down. And this is intended to be a sustainable um, process, and we don't want and then Steve says, I'm off all. Did you guys see that? I'm off all diabetes medications. That's tremendous, right? And then of course Bowie saying that she's down 25 pounds. Right. So you can do this. You can do this. And that's the whole idea behind limitless living, that we have the ability to chart our destiny. We have the ability with our choices, with our behaviors, with the tools, by the way, the tools that we have the ability to do that. So I'm actually going to stop there. Oh, back to the question that we asked last week. If you're coming up to a fast and you're about to eat your last meal and you are not hungry, how do you handle that? And so what I've done in that case is I have actually eaten protein and fat, started the fast at that time, and then gone into it, right? So I've said, okay, I'm not that hungry right now, but this is when I'm starting my fast, and I've added some protein. Maybe I have some chicken, maybe I have some eggs, maybe cheese. Cheese, by the way, is, yeah, I gotta invest in some cheese. But that's a whole nother conversation. And I'll eat that and get into the fast. Now, someone said last week that they wouldn't recommend to do my blood work in 3 weeks, and I hope to be in the fives. Yeah. So Steve is saying he hopes to be in the fives with his A1C. Someone said that they wouldn't recommend just assuming that the hours that we had eaten already leading up to now was part of the fast. And I agree. Let's be specific when it comes to our fast. This is our fasting window. We're starting here and we're ending here, right? We're not going to co-opt any previous hours into this, okay? And the same thing on the other end. When you get to the end of the fast, sometimes it's tempted that you've gone so well, you've done so well during this fast that, okay, I'm going to extend it another 12 hours. And I've done that. If you guys remember, one week we did a 106-hour. That was not a plan. It was a 22-hour planned fast. But because of scheduling, we ended up adding another 12 hours because I was out somewhere. So that's what, 84 hours. And we're like, oh man, since we're here, let's go ahead and go to 96. So we went to 96 and say, hey man, we're here. Let's go to 100. And we did 106. I don't recommend that, because what happens is invariably something happens during that period where it was beyond where you planned, and that sets you up for having a bad experience the next time, because you weren't planning for it, things didn't go as well as you thought, and then what happens is your mind remembers that part, and they blame the fasting for that. Steve said he's off most of his blood pressure medicine. I mean, this is amazing. And so remember, yeah, so good point. So we talk about reversing diabetes, right? We talk about reversing diabetes, but remember, metabolism, dysregulated metabolism, has a spectrum of things that we're also fighting. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, of course, metabolic syndrome, fatty liver. All of those are spectrums. So not just the fact that we're improving our insulin sensitivity, that we're reversing diabetes, we're moving out of pre-diabetes, but all those other things get better. And if they get better, there's no reason for medication. There's no reason for medication. So Bowie said that she's trying to get into a more regular scheduled fasting rather than random fasting. And I definitely recommend that, because you know when the fasting is going to happen, right? You are structure. Remember, rhythm, alignment, and structure is what gives us success. All right, well, that's it. So once again, the tzatziki salad is all gone. I did not eat any of the chicken that I got from downstairs. Right, I think that's going to be enough for me. And then I did not eat any of the salad that I created. It was just too much. And I did not eat any breakfast today, so this was just, yeah. Boy, we do one meal a day. Yeah, one meal a day is an amazing way to get into that. All right. So anyway, I am so excited that you're here. If you're joining me, I'm glad that you're joining me fasting. We're coming back. You can join me at any point. So even though you say, I want to do a 24-hour, oh, I missed you, I wanted to start with you, that's okay. If you're a half an hour behind, if you're an hour behind, 2 hours behind, whatever number, start where you are, right? Because we're going to be doing this for the next 3 days, 72 hours. So you've got time. If you're trying to do a 24-hour, 48-hour, even if you're doing a 72-hour, when we break our fast, you can just extend it a little longer. But it is an amazing process, fasting, and it hits all the pillars of reversing diabetes, decreasing insulin, suppressing the appetite, and of course, reducing sugar. Anyway, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives that is putting us in the position of being successful with our health. We're presenting our best self, our best health, and our best plans because we are not allowing anything from outside of us or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you in our fast and go out there and live a limitless life. Have a good one. Bye-bye, everybody.